There's controversy in some camps about existential psychology, about whether it's, maybe not the legitimacy of it, but is it a viable technique? And I thought maybe you could speak a little bit to that in terms of its use as a therapeutic intervention among many. What does that look like in practice, especially from someone who is a practitioner as well as a scholar?
You're putting me in mind of an interview I saw that I sometimes use for classes with Gordon Wheeler, who is a Gestalt therapist. And the interviewer asked him, how he ultimately came to be a Gestalt therapist. And his response to that would be really similar to my own, which is that when we're all graduate students in clinical psychology, learning psychotherapy, and we're learning about the various psychotherapeutic approaches, we tend to see ourselves reflected to varying degrees in each of the theoretical paradigms. And ultimately, of course, many of us who do clinical work end up working integratively. And I am, no exception to that. I certainly do that. But existential humanistic psychology and psychotherapy is the foundation of my integrative work because it's the approach that I most see myself reflected in. So when we think about working with clients and doing psychotherapy, it's the approach that most reflects what I think therapy needs to be about and for, more than the other approaches. And I am a therapist who is not particularly attached to working with insurance companies. So I end up taking very low fees for my work because Saybrook, the Chicago School, and other academic institutions pay my bills nicely. And, any consultation work that I do, any workshops that I give, I can keep my therapy rates really low. This allows me to work with the freedom without insurance companies breathing over my shoulder, trying to micromanage what I do. So any judgment I might get about how long I work with a client or the so-called rigid reductive measures of empirical efficacy, which I challenge and counter with what is the nature of evidence itself at the end of the day, and what about practice-based evidence? I think there's a lot of practice-based evidence in doing existential humanistic psychotherapy work with clients.